people of the internet! Welcome back to my channel. It is 2020, it is the new year. I have not posted any videos since I posted my music last year. I have filmed and attempted to make a couple of other videos, but those kind of never happened. This is not an I'm sorry I've been gone video. This is a video about letting go. Before you scream in the comments, I'm not quitting YouTube. Because I know that, having watched YouTube videos for many, many years, I know that people do that. Oh, I'm leaving or letting go, saying goodbye. And, it's like a clickbaity thumbnail. Or, am I leaving YouTube? And they're like, of course I'm not leaving YouTube. That kind of stuff. So I'm not going anywhere. I want us to talk about letting go of things that don't serve you anymore and letting go of things that you held on to so tight that they define you, and maybe they were not good things to define yourself by. In general, it's in the new year, you need to let go of some things. So 10 years ago, my first favorite band broke up. The band's name was Cinema Bizarre, and I know that I've talked about them on my channel multiple times because at one point they meant the world to me. Like I said, they were my first favorite band, and 10 years ago I was 14. And I liked that band since I was 12. And, I've loved them since about 2008 until they disbanded. And back then, it was heartbreaking. I wanted nothing more than for them to get back together. Because as many bands who break up, they posted some type of note, a letter to their fans and saying that they're going on a break. So, you know how that goes. You know how One Direction went on a break too? Yeah, I'm kind of still salty about that. If you're breaking up, just say that you're breaking up. Don't lead people on. Anyway, so they posted that, and we were heartbroken, and we were like, oh, okay, it's a break. They'll come back for sure. For sure they will. And I really wanted them to come back. And that was 10 years ago. And since then, I have moved on, and I had found other artists that I love more, artists that I love to this day. And don't get me wrong, I'm still kind of, Cinema Bizarre and their music kind of bring me nostalgia because after all, they have been important to me at one point in my life. And they were the band, the thing, the media, the media that taught me for the first time that it's not just okay to be different because, I've always been different. All my life, I've been an outcast. Even an outcast among outcasts sometimes. They didn't just teach me that it was okay to be different. They taught me that it was cool to be different because they were, they wore some pretty extravagant outfits and, a lot of makeup and stuff like that. And, I didn't really know many people who actually liked that kind of style back then. And that was the epitome of cool to me back then, along with, scene queens and stuff like that. But yeah, basically back to Cinema Bizarre. They meant the world to me back then. They were my inspiration. They were my inspiration for art, for writing my own songs even. Even though there was baby steps. I didn't really know how to write melodies. I just wrote a lot of lyrics, but they were a huge inspiration to me. And then many years have passed. Literally a decade has passed. They broke up on January 21st, 2010. And honestly, if they announced today that they were coming back, I wouldn't really care much. And that sounds really mean, but they're not the kind of people that I admire these days. I've grown up and I've changed a lot, like a lot in terms of my values and my taste in pretty much everything. Well, not everything, okay? I've always loved bright colors. That hasn't changed since I was a kid. But a decade changes you a lot, especially if you started the decade as a teen and now you're a full-grown adult. So I changed a lot, and I found that I don't really care for their music. And while I do appreciate their music in a nostalgic sense, in like a musicians from from a musician's point of view. I've learned to appreciate and dissect their music and kind of marvel at it. It's not really that great. I don't really love it that much anymore. So essentially, I've let go of them, and it doesn't pain me that they're broken up. It's like it was meant to be, you know. And I don't really, I don't really want them back at this point. If they came back, I would listen to their music, of course, because I'm curious still. But I wouldn't be like, oh my god, stand time. So you know, in when it comes to the topic of letting go, that is that is one of the things that I realized, like fairly recently, actually, that I've completely just let go of my love for that band, like that passionate love that I used to have, and it's not a bad thing. It's actually it's a good thing. It's good to let go of things sometimes. Speaking of letting go, I think we all remember a song called "Let It Go" that a lot of you probably still hate because it was so overplayed on the radio everywhere. And coincidentally, Frozen 2 came out last year. It came out in November in other countries. Here it came out at the end of December, and I went to see that movie, and it was fantastic. But first, let's talk about Let It Go, because the important thing about the song is that it's not a song about letting go. It's a song about thinking that you're letting go. There's still a lot of pain and pent up emotion and anger and frustration in that song. It's like when you're crying, but you're like angry crying, and you're like throwing things, It's less violent, like Elsa builds her castle, but the castle is a metaphor for isolation, because like she thinks that she freed herself. She thinks that she let go, like finally release her power, but she truly hasn't let go of her trauma at that point in the movie yet. And like that's what you realize when you watch it to the end, and Elsa saves Anna, and then only then like you realize, and the character realizes that she truly let go. So another very important thing that I've been thinking about in terms of letting go is that you might think that you let go of something, or you might convince yourself that you let go of something, but you really haven't. Because there's a difference between saying, oh, I'm letting go of this, and actually realizing after a while that, yeah, now I've actually let go of that. And there's an even more beautiful layer to this, to Elsa's story in Frozen 2. The true freedom that comes, the true realization that you finally let go of the past and that you're free, comes to her not really truly at the end of Frozen 1, but at the end of Frozen 2. And the thing that really, like, the whole movie is amazing. Well, it has its flaws, but Elsa's character arc was incredible. At the end of the movie, Elsa finds out where her powers came from. And more importantly, she realizes that the only person she truly needs to accept her is herself. And what truly got me, just stabbed me through the heart in the best way possible, was her, the ending shot of her galloping on her ice horse into, across the frozen sea, into the sunset. And just the joy, the pure joy in that scene in her face. I feel like that was the most beautiful ending to her story, because she truly has let go of the past, on everything that's haunted her. And another beautiful thing to me about Frozen 2 is that Elsa doesn't come back to Arendelle. She moves on. She's let go of what has been holding her down, and she moves on, but not in a I'm running away sense, but I have found where I belong and I feel good in my own skin way, And I feel like letting go and moving on is a very important part of self-acceptance, of growing up in general, and not just growing up as a kid or as a teen, but as an adult as well. I have had a history of holding on to things, both physical and not physical. I hold on to things that bring me comfort, and sometimes the things that bring me comfort, they're not necessarily bad, but I just grow past them. And I realize that I don't have a dream anymore, in the sense of I don't have this overarching dream that I want to reach, that I want to achieve, like this massive goal. And I've had this goal for many, many years, since, well, not since I was a kid, but since I was in my mid to late teens. I've had this goal, and I was convinced that this is me, this is what I want to do in life. And over the past year, it has just dissipated. I've changed to a point where I don't want the things that I used to want for many years. Maybe I still want them in some capacity, but not like in a career sense. And it really weighed me down. It kind of still does, that I've lost this desire, but doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing if you stop wanting something, even if it's your life dream or you thought it was going to be your life dream. Because I know that it sounds very cheesy when people say it, but it's true. We have this one life and we have to live it how we want it. If something's not working for you, you have to do your best to let it go. And so it took me a few months to realize that it's healthier to let go of the dream that I thought I had and go on a journey to find a new goal, a new dream, a new passion, than to desperately hold on to something that you don't want anymore just because you wanted it at one point in your life. But as much as letting go is important, what is also important is holding on to what you already have that is good. Even when you feel like you need to change, you shouldn't throw away your old art, you shouldn't delete your channel or your social media that you have like a lot of memories or art on. You shouldn't delete your writing. And I have 2 lovely channels with a lot of subscribers who love me, and I love you all back. So I'm going to hold on to that because I cherish that. Speaking of my YouTube channel, I feel like I'm going to put stuff on this channel that I didn't want to put on it because I thought it was not mature enough. I'm going to put stuff on this channel that is not perfect. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to try out new things. They are not going to be like, I used to do trying something new videos, but it was always with food. And while I do really love watching hauls, unboxing videos, taste test videos, collection videos and stuff like that, and I like stuff a lot, I feel like if you watch my reaction channel, like I always change up this little display, and I keep getting gradually more and more posters of things that I like. But I feel like while I do love consuming this type of media, is this really the type of things that I want to put out in the world? Because a lot of us like buying stuff, but I feel like it's not very inspiring. So this year, as much as I don't do resolutions, my goal is to try out a lot of new stuff that I hadn't tried before. And I'm going to put it on this channel just for funsies. And we're going to have a good chill time trying out new things or doing old things that I enjoy. I know I used to do art videos in the past. Some of them were pretty successful, others were not that successful. But honestly, these days I pretty much only draw Star Wars fan art and commissions. And I don't really want my channel to be known for some specific brand because I know that I will have a phase of Star Wars and it'll eventually end, and I don't want it to be built around that. I've never done anything perfectly. My music's not perfect, my art is not perfect, my video quality and video setup is not perfect, and I'm going to continue to be imperfect and let go of my personal expectation that everything that I put out on YouTube has to be like really good quality. I'm just going to have fun because, like I said, on Twitter a while ago. If you don't follow me on Twitter, please follow me on Twitter. It's at the Cake is Sizzly. As I said on Twitter, the best part of YouTube remains the kids in their bedrooms making videos. Because there's so much brand content, there's so many verified accounts making professional videos, and those are sometimes cool. But the most fun and the most cozy and genuine part of YouTube is still the kids, the high school kids, the college kids, everybody in between, young and old, sitting down in their bedrooms like this with their phones and just talking to the camera, or like talking to the camera and doing something. That is my favorite type of content, and I'm sure a lot of you agree with me, especially after the roaring decade that YouTube has had. So we're gonna try to do a little bit more of that. As for music, I don't know when new music will be out. I will still make music in the future, I'm sure. I just don't have a date on it. Here's to more new cool content in 2020 and in this new decade in general. And I will see you next time. I love you guys. Bye! Mwah!